Also, your DVD collection is impressive. Like it dwarfs next to mine. Like yours is so much better.
Yes, physical media. We need
Physical
physical
media.
media. But this is DVDs and Blu-rays, and this is books. You have to match them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got my books down there, all my art books and stuff. So just need
Well,
more Lego.
Ricard,
Didn't have enough
Tanya,
Lego.
it's a great pleasure to talk to you here on Papo de Cinema. We're talking about Deu Preguiça. In Brazil, is Deu Preguiça, the sloth lane. Uh, nice talk to you guys.
Thank you
Lovely
for
to meet
having
you. Hi.
Well, let's start with the beginning. How did the idea of the sloth lane come about to you two?
We had a writer's room where we were coming up with all these different ideas for what would be the next three films in the kind of sanctuary city world. And
Mm-hmm.
this idea came up about a food truck, and we all kind of thought that sloths would be the funniest animal to be running a food truck because of how slow their service would be. And it kind of started
Yeah.
as a grain of idea there, and then kind of just really evolved into kind of this big mother and daughter story and this kind of love letter to family that me and Ricard kind of put our hearts into, I guess. But yeah, yeah.
But when I talk about sloth and in animation, we immediately think about that sloth from Zootopia, and yours is very different. It's a very different sloth, isn't it?
it is, it is. And I think
Yeah.
that, I mean, we can't compare to Zootopia and what Disney does. And we knew we wanted to do our own thing. And there's many ways to go about characters. And I thought that what was very interesting in the way that Tanya and Ryan wrote it is to really look at what makes a sloth special, right? And yes, they're slow, but let's go deeper into that. And that's where, the whole thing about slow food and like just tradition and culture. So that really came in. And then Laura, the protagonist of the film, just her anxiety of like wanting to go out there and be different in the big life and the big city and the fast food and kind of like just taking the core ideas of sloth, of being slow, but taking it, giving it a spin and give it a bit more of a background to it and give it a bit more character.
Yeah, but this combination with sloth and be more agile and fast food, and it seems like a contradiction of the modern world.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this is definitely a theme of the film of like slow down and enjoy the moment. We felt like it was very important right now just because how fast everything goes, like whether it's like media or just life in general. So we kind of were hoping that people would go and see the film, and parents as well as kids would kind of leave the cinema kind of wanting to enjoy the time with their kids a little bit more, and maybe even like phone your mum if your mum's not with you in the cinema.
Well, aren't you too afraid of the, how do I say, Emilia Paris effect? Because you two from Australia, you talking about sloth, that's an American animals, and the movie is set in Mexico. How did you prepare for that?
Well, I mean, the secret is I am Spanish and I'm married
Oh,
to a
great.
beautiful Mexican. I lived a lot of my life in Mexico.
That's a very
So
great difference from Emilia Paris.
yes, yes. Oh, thank you, thank you. My wife will agree with you. So yeah, so when this movie came up, I thought it was a match made in heaven. It finally gave me the opportunity to work with, in my own language with, Latino speaking actors. It also allowed me to pay homage to all the love and care that the family from Mexico and the Mexican culture has given me and give that back, right? And I wanted to be very respectful and, in an animated movie, really show what, the real Mexico and real Mexican people are and, the truth about the food and the culture and the colors and the vibe. So, my hope was to, pay respects to my family and to my wife's heritage and show them just a glimpse of what the true culture of Mexico and Latin America is in the film.
And also, you two were smart enough to avoid some cliches, something come from Mexico because you had Coco in the animation and
Mhm.
Dia de los Muertos and all those kind of. You immediately refer to Mexico. No, there's nothing of that. There's another approach of the Mexican culture in your movie.
Yeah, like again, we didn't want to say this is Mexico, this is Latin America, because it's not what the film is about. I think it's
Hmm.
really about, it's a film about family, and the context is, okay, where they're like South American Latino slots,
Hmm.
and and the Easter eggs, the little details, they're there in the film. They're just not. We're not making an effort to like, hey, look at this. This is what we've done, and it's really more about like the beautiful daughter mother story that Tanya and Ryan crafted.
Well, you already talk about your wife, Tanya. Relationships between mothers and daughters are not always easy. I don't know if you have a daughter, but how much of the your experience are in this story?
Well, I had to like hold my mom's hand when she saw this for the first time because this is literally like some of the arguments in there are almost word for word things that we and her have had in the past. I didn't steal a recipe book, but there was some. My mom used to say that I would stare into the future rather than look into the future. So I
Uh-huh.
was definitely Lara, kind of like running ahead. But the funny thing is, like as you just said, I just had a daughter a month ago, so I'm now
Oh,
finally
congratulations.
in. Thank you. And instantly I'm like, oh, poor Gabby, what have I done? I've instantly flipped. No, I think it's really nice though to have that mother and daughter relationship. And I think it's universal. Like I don't think that it's like Ricard is a father of a daughter, and I think that it's just that parent-child relationship and wanting to hold on to them so tightly and then kind of losing who they're becoming because you're wishing they would stay who they were when they were little. So it's kind of trying to talk to parents about that and maybe try and get them to enjoy the time they have with the kids a little bit more. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are quotes in the movie from Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible. I want to ask you to talk about your references. What movies did you study and watch it to make this Love Lane?
Oh, me and Rick are like the biggest like 80s, 90s movie nerds in the world. So I feel like there's like
Physical
Indian there.
media, physical media.
We put lots of little homages in that people could like pick up along the way. There's some Braveheart in there as well. But I think for us, I'm a massive Turning Red fan, and I thought that was such a huge influence of like how you could bring culture and family and kind of combine them to tell a beautiful story. I think animation right now is going through this huge golden age of like looking fantastic in CG and really like paying homage to the beautiful 2D and stop motion. So we really wanted to push that as well and take a big influence from things like Aardman and Leica as well. But Ricard, what kind of influences did you sneak in there?
Like not specifically for Sloth. I mean, as a director, I was brought up with Steven Spielberg and Star Wars and George Lucas and all the big blockbusters. Kind of that's like really what inspired me to be in this industry and make films. And I think that in a way or another, they've made it into the film. I'm a big football fan as well. So if you've noticed, I was born in Barcelona. So in the first scene of the movie, there is a
Yeah.
character wearing a Barca jersey. So that was my Easter egg that I put in there.
Great, great. Well, guys, I want to ask you about the scene of animation, not just in Australia, but as you work, because last 3 years, the Academy Award for Best Animated Movie was not from the Hollywood standards, you know. This year, last year we had Miyazaki. This year we have a movie from Letonia. I don't know how to say
Yeah,
in
from
English.
Latvia. Yeah.
Latvia, yes, yes, Latvia. But a movie about animals also, you know, without dialogues. I want to ask you, do you think this, what do you think about this movement of turning everything in live actions? And don't you think animated movies are for this kind of stories?
I could not agree more. I've wanted to be an animator since I was like 5 years old, and I think that animation is like a really underrated medium, especially since almost every person you ever meet, when you talk about the films that make them cry in the cinema, the films that really touch them, they're normally animations. Even if you're like an adult, they're the ones that you remember. I think it's so exciting to see independent animated films like Flow winning Golden Globes and Oscars. It just seemed impossible before it happened. And like this film, we made it with a tiny crew, like something like Spider-Verse, which is incredible, has like 1,000 animators, but we had a 40-person crew for the whole entire movie. So
Great.
I think there's definitely a world where you can make these great movies with these small crews. And I think it's really exciting that people are starting to do that, take the smaller budget. And like we made the film at Ricard's animation studio, Cosmic Dino Studio. And it's been really exciting to see like you can do it with a smaller crew and stand up to the big boys.
And I think there's been a big shift in the audience as well. Like I think the chip has changed. They used to, used to think that the only big players is DreamWorks and Pixar and Disney, right?
Yeah.
And that's just because like the technology and like it's just very expensive to make animation. But now that it's so accessible and all these smaller studios are popping up, I think the audience is starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, like it's not all the Pixar look or the DreamWorks look, right? And things like Spider-Verse that really showed, okay, well, you can do like this stop motion look with 3D, and then and from there, like I think the audience has realized, oh wait, there's much more to animation than just like your classics. So I think that's really helping us, that the audience is hungry for this type of content, which is great.
Well, great. Tania, in the beginning of our chat, I was teaching Ricard to say the title, the Portuguese title of your movie. Here in Brazil, it's called Deu Preguiça. I want to ask you to say that. Deu Preguiça.
I apologize already, but is it Deu Preguiça?
Yeah, Deu Preguiça. Ricard, say to me, Deu Preguiça.
Deu Preguiça.
Deu Preguiça.
Deu Preguiça is when you are tired, you don't want to do nothing, you want to just rest and be. What gives you laziness? What kind of situation you're gonna say? Well, deu preguiça for me.
Oh, every morning. I never want to get up.
I'll have to agree. As Tanya said, we've had I had a little girl for a year now, and every day now there's no weekends, they don't exist. So every day is looking after. I love her to beats. But yeah, like there's just times where it's like, oh, deu preguiça. It's like, come on, it's Sunday, let's sleep. And then she wakes up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. It's like, oh well, that starts my day.
People, I want to ask you to give a message to the readers and followers of Papo de Cinema. Our venture is Papo de Cinema, and ask him to see Deu Preguiça at the theaters.
The Sloth Lane, Deu Preguiça, is such a fun, unique film. I think that it really has like the essence of like this kind of immigrant kind of story of like, really the message is home is where your family is, right? It doesn't matter where in the world you are. And it's such a universal story. Like I think a lot of people will relate to that idea of like having to move out of home, of your country, of your town, and be somewhere that you don't know anyone else. But if, is that call to your mother? It's like, if you're lucky and you have your friends and your family with you, that's home. And as long as like, there's a nice warm meal and there's always something to remember home, that's the magic of Deu Preguiça.
Tania, if you can ask the people, the followers and the readers from Papo de Cinema.
Okay, I'm gonna butcher this. Papo de Cinema. Hey everyone at Papo de Cinema, you should go and see Deu Preguiça. It's fun for all the family, and it's all about cooking and just having fun and remembering to really appreciate the moment.
Guys, thank you so much. It was great. It was perfect. I loved the movie, and I love our conversation, and success with the movie. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
so much.